Eyewitness News starts right now.
I know he was going to say it, but look in his eyes. You know what I mean?
Massey Energy's former CEO answering to federal charges more than 4 years after the deadly blast at Upper Big Branch. What happened in the courtroom today and what the loved ones of some of those miners who died had to say. Good evening, I'm Rick Lord.
And I'm Elizabeth Nareka. This is Eyewitness News, now at 11. An emotional day for the families of the UBB miners. They attended former Massey CEO Don Blankenship's day in court as he pleaded not guilty to conspiracy charges. Blankenship was arraigned on 4 criminal charges that he conspired to put coal production and profits ahead of miners' safety at Massey's Upper Big Branch mine, where 29 workers died in April 2010. The 64-year-old Blankenship faces 31 years in prison if convicted. Eyewitness News anchor Stefano DiPietrantonio is here in the studio to explain more about today's hearing. Steph?
Hey there, Liz. We still do not know how or even when Don Blankenship came into, then left the federal courthouse in Beckley today. We had crews staking out all ends of the courthouse, checking every vehicle, still no sign of him. But he did make an appearance and posted an enormous bond, then disappeared. Despite cameras outside every possible entrance to the federal courthouse in Beckley and tons of media there, Don Blankenship somehow snuck his way in to answer conspiracy charges stemming from the Upper Big Branch mine explosion 4 years ago.
It's a great start in a good direction of things to come.
The former Massey CEO pled not guilty after being indicted on charges he conspired to violate mine safety and health standards at the Upper Big Branch mine.
What I thought it needed to be done is, the court system thinks different. And they're the ones that's making the decision. As long as they make their decisions and they abide by it, I think everything will be just fine.
No surprise to Tommy Davis, who lost a son, a nephew, and friends in that blast. He's been outspoken, despite the gag order Judge Irene Berger issued last week.
I know he was going to say it, but look in his eyes. You know what I mean? Look in his eyes, so you see it.
The judge set Blankenship's bond at $5 million cash, which he posted with no problem.
It's a little comforting knowing that they've reached the top of the Massey chain.
Bobby Sanger was there standing up for his wife, who lost a brother in the mine, one of the 29 killed in that April 2010 explosion. He never thought he'd see Blankenship go to trial.
I had my doubts. I did. I figured it would, after the 4 gentlemen that are spending time now in prison for this, I figured they would slowly move up the ladder, but I didn't think they would go straight to the top.
Blankenship now the most high-profile player indicted so far. Less than a year after the UBB explosion, the former head of security for Massey Energy, Albert Stover, was indicted, then eventually sentenced to 3 years for lying to investigators and destroying documents. Last year, a federal judge handed former Upper Big Branch Mine Superintendent Gary May nearly 2 years in prison on fraud charges. And in September of last year, longtime Massey Energy executive David Huggart was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to hiding safety violations. Now, as part of his bond, the judge ordered all kinds of restrictions on Blankenship. He can travel only within the southern district of the state, Washington, D.C., and Pike County, Kentucky. He also cannot contact any witnesses or victims in the case. Don Blankenship's trial set for January 26th in front of Judge Irene Berger. Stefano DiPietrantonio, Eyewitness News.